Ladies and gentlemen, in September, I think I had like 12 new releases that I watched. Last month, it was only like 10, and you guys were probably rightfully coming for my cinephile status. But guess what, haters? In the month of November, with the holiday and my kids being out of school for a week, I watched 28 new films. So what now? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the garage. Gerald here with you, of course, and it is time for my monthly tier list where I go through and rank all of the new releases that I saw in the previous month. Obviously, we will be dealing with November 2025. I'm going to fly through these pretty quickly. I won't give a ton of commentary on them unless it's something that I haven't really talked about on the channel yet. Let's get into it. 28 releases that I'm going to be ranking on my tier list this month. As we bring it in here, the first thing I like to do is go over the tiers with you. Now, Perfection, the top tier, which is S tier, that's going to be, you see the score there. I mean, obviously that's perfect or near perfect. Pretty Damn Good is a great film that I would highly recommend. Sure, I guess, is like middle of the road. Like, it had some good qualities, it had some bad qualities. No Thanks is going to be a movie that I didn't hate, but I'm definitely not going to recommend you rush to see that thing. And then Please Stop, I think, speaks for itself. Anything below a 4 out of 10 or a 1.5 on Letterboxd, that's like, I'm pissed that I even have to talk about it. But I got to be honest with you, without peeking at the movies, I don't know if anything's going to even go down there. A lot of these are awards players, so I might mention that a little bit in my commentary too. But this is one that's thought to be an awards player for Best Animated this year. I'm going to put it on Pretty Damn Good. That's a film called Arco. It has Natalie Portman as a producer on the film, and she's also one of the voice casts in the movie, along with Will Ferrell and some other notable actors in the English cast. It is a beautiful film. It's in the style of like Miyazaki. It has a wonderful futuristic sci-fi story about family, loss, wanting to be relevant in your life and your family's life. I don't want to give anything away, but there are some parallels to some other films that I love. And I actually mentioned that in my Letterboxd review, and then I was like, oh, I think I just spoiled this thing. So anyway, don't check my Letterboxd review before you watch it. One that I did not like a whole lot, I didn't hate, however, I'm going to put it on No Thanks, and that's After the Hunt. Speaking of award season, this is a movie that died a rapid death. I mean, we're talking about falling from the top floor of a 40-story building in a hurricane, splat on the ground. That's how quickly this thing died. Great performances. It's just a really weird put-together film. The editing, the pacing, the screenplay is so haphazardly put together. It's almost like Luca Guadagnino didn't even do this movie. He just kind of put his name on it. Begonia is also a movie I really dug. I'm going to put that up on Pretty Damn Good also. It's probably sitting close to a 7.5 or so out of 10. I did a review on the channel for this one. There's some issues that I have with the movie, namely the last like 5 minutes or so of the film. But overall, it's an experience from Yorgos, and again, another collaboration with Emma Stone here. And I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but Jesse Plemons is actually the strongest performance in that movie, if you ask me. Nobody asked me. How about Knives Out, Wake Up Dead Man? I'm going to put it on Sure I Guess. Sorry, don't be upset. I liked it. It's probably a 6 out of 10 for me. The cast is like phenomenally, like, it's not even fair that Rian Johnson got these 8 or 10 people together in the same movie. Kaylee Spaney, obviously Daniel Craig, Josh O'Connor, which, by the way, I think I recently saw Critics' Choice is putting him supporting and putting Daniel Craig lead in terms of their FYC. That's stupid. Josh O'Connor's the lead of this movie. He is the definite crutch that the movie is leaning on the whole time. A movie that's been super divisive on every outlet that I follow, that's going to go on Perfection. Hey, what do you want from me? I am who I am. Lynn Ramsey's Die My Love. I also did a review on the channel for this one. I gave it a 9 out of 10. On a rewatch, it might be a 10 out of 10. I love Ramsey. I'm an apologist for her. I love her movies. My sensibility, she just speaks to me. Every movie she's done, I'm like, this is my shit. And there's nothing different with Die My Love, and it does not hurt it that Jennifer Lawrence, in my opinion, gives the best performance that she's ever given in a nearly 20-year career here. A movie that had no business being an 8 out of 10, but it was, is Eternity. It's a new A24 romantic comedy that's kind of like an elevated rom-com that deals with the choices we make in life and the people we meet along the way and who we decide to spend multiple years of our lives with and how that all kind of intertwines with each other. And what if we're faced with a decision that could essentially change our past, or we could fix something from our past, but in doing so, it would affect everything else that we've experienced. I almost want to die and go to heaven or whatever the hell this place is called, eternity, I guess, because of Da'Vine Joy Randolph. And in my head, she actually does work there at the gates of heaven. And I want her to be my, what do they call it, afterlife coordinator. So please, when I die, that's really all I ask for. It's Frankenstein, Guillermo del Toro, of course, another one that's going to go on pretty damn good. Another one that's probably around a 7 to an 8 out of 10. On a good day, beautiful film, top tier cinematography, production design, obviously makeup and effects. And I love Del Toro's kind of lifelong obsession with this story and wanting to bring it to life. And he did so. This is a great movie. It's on Netflix currently. And if you're lucky, it might be playing in a theater near you, because what Guillermo did on the screen should be seen in the movie house. Another one that you can stream currently is Hedda, starring Tessa Thompson and Nina Hoss as well, in a brilliant supporting performance. I hope she gets some mentions on the award circuit in the next couple of weeks. There's a lot of like sexiness in this movie, a lot of dancing, drinking. It's got that Great Gatsby kind of feel to it, of like old Hollywood and like the old Biltmore House and Vanderbilts and like that kind of vibe. So it is beautiful. We were just talking about costume designs with Frankenstein and production design and cinematography and all that. Same thing with Hedda. It is one of the better looking films of the year. I really enjoyed it. Another animated film that's getting mentions on the circuit for animated feature. I didn't really like it, to be honest with you. It was a little too kid friendly, I guess, which is weird for an animated movie, but it was just a little too like vanilla. There wasn't anything like really extra or substantial to the storyline in the movie. The animation's good. It's a movie called In Your Dreams. It's another Netflix original, so you can stream it currently. If you have kids, they're going to like it. It plays on that kind of like almost like a Monsters Inc. type POV, where you can tell that they're trying to use like dreams and nightmares as a way to like be an easy archetype for storytelling for younger viewers. And this movie does skew to younger viewers. I would say anybody under the age of 12 is probably going to freaking love this thing. Speaking of Netflix, I'm going to rank these at the end. I don't know which of these two that you see up there on the perfection tier I'm going to rank higher. Oh boy. Jay Kelly is next for me, and this is as close as you can get to a 10 out of 10. I'm going to give it a rewatch. I rarely drop a 10 in my first viewing of a movie, by the way. But this is one that could be a 10 out of 10. George Clooney obviously playing the titular Jay Kelly, which is essentially George Clooney. He's basically playing himself, which might seem weird. It might seem a little like cliche and meta and like, okay, that's a gimmick. And that's actually kind of what I thought. And when I went to see it, I was just blown away by the way Noah Baumbach and Emily Mortimer approach that story of subverting that expectation to where this is not a let's kiss our own ass, we're a movie star story. I mean, it is, but it delves into so much more. I told you we were going to be using these top two tiers a lot. Perfection tier, 9 out of 10 for It Was Just an Accident from Iranian filmmaker Jafar Panahi, another one that I think will be in the Best Picture lineup this year, as well as International Feature and possibly Director for Panahi. Maybe even some acting categories. We'll see how these precursors shake out over the next couple weeks. But this is a really good movie that comes with an element of suspense to it and a bit of mystery, but also some like oddly placed and surprisingly welcome like dark comedy. Like this is not funny subject matter about having been tortured as a prisoner of war and then somehow turning that into like moments of laughter and levity. It was really well done, and I think the screenplay, obviously Panahi and the actors have a lot to do with it. But as far as international cinema goes, there's a few going to be on this tier list as we go through it. This is one of the better ones that I've seen. We got another musical here. I'm going to put it on no thanks, unfortunately, and that's Kiss of the Spider Woman. It's notable for starring Jennifer Lopez. She's alluring in the film. Almost every word that she speaks in the movie is through song. So there's not a lot of dialogue in terms of like speaking lines. It's all being sung and performed by her. Not all the characters, but hers. I would say 90% of it is performed like stage musical setting. Left-Handed Girl is another international movie that is probably going to be in my 5 for international feature this year. You can stream it on Netflix right now. Follows a young girl in Taiwan who lives there with her single mom and her sister, and we're following her journey of kind of coming of age, but also her older sister's like 18, I think, 17 or 18, and she kind of gets into the sex worker trade. The mother, who's a single mom, has opened a kind of pop-up business in the local market there, and she's trying to stay afloat and support her 2 girls, and they're kind of, in a weird way, each doing their own thing to support their journey in Taiwan. Now, hearing all that Would you be surprised if I told you this was produced by Sean Baker? This is literally like a Sean Baker movie if it was international. I mean, it was so Sean Baker coded. I actually said in my Letterboxd review, I was watching it on my laptop when we went on vacation for my birthday a couple weeks ago. And my wife saw it on my laptop out of her peripheral. And she actually said to me, "Don't watch a Nora in front of the kids. What are you doing?" She thought it was a Nora at first glance. The Legend of Ochi, I think it's Oshi or Oki, I'm not sure to be honest, but it's a practical puppet, which I love in terms of effects. It's got Willem Dafoe in it, who I love. It's cute, but it's not a full-length feature for what they give us to work with. But a young girl discovers this alien kind of creature that lives in the woods in this small village they live in, and every year they go hunting for the Ochi, and they try to kill as many of them as they can because they fear these creatures. So obviously it's a little cliche. We fear what's different than us, right? And she ends up befriending one of the young ones that survives that ambush on the annual, massacre or whatever they call it. And it turns into kind of like a story from there. She's accepting of the creature. He loves her. They come close. There's, the last act brings what you would think would be emotionally manipulative storytelling. All that's in there, but the story was just way, way too bland when we've seen it 1,000 times. Talked about Die My Love earlier, and I put that up on perfection. I'm going to put If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You on pretty damn good, probably around a 7 out of 10 for me. It is a very similar story to Die My Love, but obviously told much different. Now, there's a lot of things in it as a parent that you see Rose Byrne's character do as a mother whose husband is, I won't call him a piece of shit, but he's just not there. He's, his work has taken him away. He's out of town for the bulk of the film. And because of that, she's left to her own devices, dealing with the kid with special needs. And it's just weighing on her. And then she's also got these underlying attributes that would lend to postpartum and just overall just depression. And Conan O'Brien plays her therapist in it. And we get to hear some of that being worked throughout the movie. No other choice, man. Oh my God. Park Chan-wook, another international film going up on the perfection tier, and another one that I think, as I'm sitting here on December 1st, is in my best picture lineup. This is a brilliant, absolutely astounding piece of filmmaking. Like, it might not be my favorite movie that we're talking about from this month, but when you watch it, this one and maybe another one I'm going to be talking about here in a moment, and you put it on mute, right? There's so many experimental things from a filmmaking or a craft standpoint, from a tech standpoint, that is just like unbelievable what Park Chan-wook is operating on a level as a filmmaker that I don't even know if I can name an American filmmaker that's doing it or even coming close. I mean, seriously, and I'm not trying to talk down to any American filmmakers because I'm much more versed on them than international filmmakers. And maybe Park Chan-wook's not even the best out there. I mean, I don't know, but I'm more familiar with his catalog in the last 15 years or so. Nuremberg, I said earlier that Eternity had no business being an 8 out of 10. Same thing with Nuremberg. I saw the trailer and the synopsis for this thing, and I'm like, all right, well, here we go. And also, in full disclosure, I'm not a huge Rami Malek fan either, so as an actor. So I'm like, all right, well, this is, just going to be a Beatty war film or whatever. Man, I was so entranced by this story. I knew a little bit about the history of this, the World War II, kind of like post-war effects of the concentration camps and the trials of Nuremberg. Vaguely, I didn't know about it a lot. I mean, we studied it in some of my college history courses, so I vaguely remembered it. But it was just painted so vividly to bring back those memories while also kind of teaching me about it all over again. We were talking about If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You a second ago, and about how that's a very anxious, anxiety, stressful film. One that is the most stressful film, maybe all year, that I've seen is a movie called The Plague. I'm going to put it on pretty damn good, actually, because it's probably going to be around a 7 out of 10 for me. I won't spoil anything, but essentially this is a movie that takes place in, I think, 2003, and Joel Edgerton is a swim water polo coach that runs a summer camp. And he has all these 12 and 13-year-old boys at the camp. And one of the boys is being bullied, and all the other kids are saying that he has the plague. It's basically like a rash or like eczema or something to that effect. They don't really ever tell us in the film. And that's in the trailer, so that's not like a spoiler. But all the kids poke fun at him because of his, disorder and because he's different, like we were just talking about earlier, right? So they take that constant cliche narrative and they turn it into this very like stressful anxiety, like Oh my God. And these kids are so good at acting in terms of like if you're the bully or if you're the one being bullied, they're all great. Man, I love Predator Badlands. Let's fucking go. I put it on perfection. I don't give a shit. This is probably this is probably a 9 out of 10. Look, purists of the Predator franchise have been bashing this thing, whether it's reviews or Letterboxd or whatever. I'm not that. I love the Predator films. The first one especially. Prey was, if not my favorite, probably my top 5 films of that year. And this is more of what I loved in Prey. It's a modernized upgrading from the kind of archaic Predator archetype from 40 years ago. And people get pissed about that. But it's like, we're evolving. Storytelling is evolving. People should be evolving, modernization. However that plays out for you. It's going to get nominated for visual effects. I'm just telling you right now, it is absolutely going to, if not, it's going to be a near miss like 6 or 7. I mean, it is very, very good. Elle Fanning's character is a robot, basically, a synthetic, and she is like missing the lower half of her body the whole film, and he's carrying her around like a backpack. And that's flawlessly executed, by the way, at VFX. I could not see it. I could not tell anything about that being fake. I took my son, I was just telling you, he's 12. By the way, PG-13 is like not what it was when I was a kid. 10 minutes in, I'm going, I hope he's okay. Rental Family, I really liked. Another international starring Brendan Fraser and a largely Japanese cast. It takes place in Japan. I mean, this is a movie that you can rewatch several times and you can show it to various demographics, like your grandmother, your kid, like people are going to respond to this film. Now, it does get a little manipulative in the end, the last like 10 minutes. It tries to tie everything with a bow and at the same time tries to kind of make you cry. If you hadn't yet, it's going to say, this is when we're going to make you cry. That was a little obvious for me and out of place. And I was probably riding an 8 to a 9 out of 10 before that last 10 minutes or so. So I didn't like that kind of component that they forced, I felt like. One that I wish would get some mentions that's also going to go on perfection is Rosemead. Another hard watch, though. Holy shit. This is based on a true story. You can Google it right now and find out. I'm not going to say it on this review because I didn't know it when I watched it. I went into a rabbit hole after the film, and I was like, oh my God, this really happened? Lucy Liu is a single mom to a high school teenager who has kind of become obsessed with mass shootings in America. And this is taking place in 2010 or 12, something like that. It's like 10 years, not that long ago, honestly, like 10 to 12 years ago. He's hearing it in the news. It was back when the Aurora theater shooter and the Charleston church, like all that stuff, remember, was all kind of happening back to back to back to back. And he was kind of obsessed with all that, like, news coverage of that. And Lucy Liu absolutely blew the doors off of my house when I watched this. Like, she is so good in this. Immediately when the movie ended, I Googled it and I started to see what people thought of it. Went down a rabbit hole for like 2 hours because you just can't believe what this lady went through with her son. One that was a bit of a letdown, I'm going to put it on Sure I Guess, is The Running Man, which was a remake. We were talking earlier about Predator Badlands, Arnold from the Predator franchise. And here we have another originally Arnold-helmed film from the 80s, The Running Man. It's good. Another one. And you see what's sitting right next to it on that Sure I Guess tier is Wake Up Dead Man. And very similarly in The Running Man, I am okay with using art and film and television and music and whatever to tell a story and entertain people, but to also give you this through line of this important, societally timely, topical issues, right? But when you do it so obviously, it seems weird to me. It doesn't seem natural, like I said a minute ago. And that was a problem with The Running Man and Wake Up Dead Man, is that it was just so, like, this is obviously what we're doing. We're telling you this. And in The Running Man, it's a remake, but it had added elements to it that would tend to lean towards, like, deportation and ICE and all the shit that's going on right now, which sucks and I hate it. Just so everyone knows, I'm not in support of that. But when you see a movie doing that so sure-handedly in terms of the messaging, it takes away from what the movie itself actually is. I'm not saying it makes the movie bad, but that's not what that platform is. So it always plays weirdly for me, even if I agree with the sentiment, which I do in this case. You guys know I was a huge fan of, I'm going to put it on pretty damn good, The Secret Agent. It was around an 8 out of 10 for me. Huge fan of I'm Still Here last year, which snuck into Best Picture. I think The Secret Agent has a very good shot to do the same thing. I don't have it in right now, but if it got into 10, first of all, I'd be ecstatic, and second of all, I would not be surprised. This is another great film that deals with that era of the Brazilian dictatorship in Brazil. And Wagner Moura gives a performance that you just can't take your eyes off him. I mean, you can't. You feel everything about that era through his character and through what he's going through and the stances that he's taking in his life for his morals, for the country of Brazil, and you feel that through Moura. And I do think that he's going to be all over the place this award season, including the Oscars. So he could take that Fernando Torres path, and I think he will as I'm sitting here on December 1st. But Secret Agent, it's not the same type of movie as I'm Still Here in terms of like eliciting emotion from me, but it did really intrigue me into the history of Brazil, just like I'm Still Here did. And it is a story that is relatable to our current situation in America without being heavy-handed, like the other two I just was talking about earlier. And that's the difference for me. One that I did not like as much as another international movie I'm going to put on Sure I Guess. There were parts of this that I really liked called Surat. This is a film that takes place in Morocco. I think it's being distributed from the country of Spain, though. This father and his young son, who's probably 12 or so, go to find his sister or his daughter because she's in this like rave culture. And nobody's heard from her in like 6 months. So they get their van and they go out into the deserts of Morocco to find her at these like pop-up raves that happen in the desert. It is one of those movies that really puts you in a world that, or at least me, I don't know about you guys, that you would never have any knowledge of. I would never know even that there was even a rave culture in Morocco, but I definitely wouldn't know what went into it and, the people that were involved in it and how they kind of live their lives as nomads, basically. I got hints of like Mad Max Fury Road in this because it's a road trip movie in a lot of ways too, and a chase movie in a lot of ways. Speaking of international cinema, another one for my perfection tier is Sentimental Value. I just did a review on the channel for this one just a couple days ago, actually. So I will tag it on here for you, but I also gave this one a 9 out of 10. I didn't give out any 10 out of 10s this month, though, now that I'm looking at it. But I did give a few 9 out of 10s, and this is another one. This movie got me, man. It got me, just like Jay Kelly, and for a lot of the same reasons. This is a Norwegian film, though. It's international. I live in the southern U.S. I've never been to Norway. I don't know anything about that culture. But it spoke to me because it's tying cinema and family together, just like Jay Kelly does from an LA perspective. This movie does from like a European perspective. And the performances are undeniable. This is easily one of the best ensembles of the year, led by Renate Ransva, who I absolutely adore. Joachim Trier, who got nominated for Screenplay for Worst Person in the World, could be in the hunt for that. Director, picture, a lot of the actors are in play here. One of the best movies of the year. It's in my top 10 of the year. Sentimental Value. Again, if you love movies and you have a family, which if you're watching this video, I assume that's both, check it out. Another one, 9 out of 10, bam, Train Dreams. This is a movie that was just so fucking gorgeous. Like, this is going to break my heart this year. I think this is going to be this year's Nickel Boys. There was no movie last year, at least that I saw. I'll preface by saying that. No movie that I saw last year was even remotely close to being at the level of cinematography excellence as Nickel Boys was. That's the case this year with Train Dreams. This is the most, you hear people say a painting brought to life. I'm sorry, it's literally a Norman Rockwell painting if it was live action. I mean, that's how beautiful this movie is. And then you add in these like quiet, beautiful performances from Joel Edgerton and William H. Macy. It's an interesting way to tell the story. It's basically like a diary reflection of this man's life. And it's covering the gambit of his life, basically. The tragedies that he goes through, the different ups and downs, the successes. I loved it. It's one of those movies that some people are probably going to say, man, that was a downer. And then some other people are going to go, man, that was really hopeful. That was really uplifting. It's one of those films that it really depends on you and your state of mind and kind of like how you view these like self-reflection, life imitating art kind of pieces of work. Wicked for Good. You know what? Let's talk about it for a second before I show you guys where I'm going to put it. I have a bit of a reputation on this channel, especially during award season last year for, of course, part 1. As being a super fan, if you will. I won't say a stan necessarily because I do remain objective in my critical thinking when it comes to films. But I just love Wicked. Okay, I've seen the stage show I think 4 times, going all the way back like when it first started. 15 years ago maybe. So I love the characters. I love the songs. I know all of them front to back. So to hear like, oh, okay, they're going to be doing a movie adaptation of this, you get reluctant as a super fan because you're like, are they going to do it justice? Is it going to translate well to the big screen? And honestly, It rarely does for me personally. If I love a musical on the stage first, I don't necessarily enjoy it as much or better when I see it as a movie. However, in Wicked, same playing field. I still prefer the stage musical, I think, especially with that original cast. But I mean, John M. Chu killed it, and all the performers killed it. The songs are wonderfully translated. Cynthia Erivo and of course my queen, Ari, absolutely slayed this. They have reinvented these already iconic characters to put their stamp on them. And as a duo, I said this in my review of Wicked for Good a couple weeks ago, they're one of the greatest cinematic duos of this century, in my opinion, in film. Now, a lot of the critical commentary on Wicked for Good has, and I don't mean this to like talk down to any of my colleagues, there's a lot of them that I love, baffle me. I'm absolutely baffled by some of the negative critiques that I've read, because this movie, if you're comparing it to the first one, is better. It's better in almost every aspect, it's better. The only thing is maybe the songs are better in Wicked than they are in For Good. There's a couple bangers in For Good, like the new one, Girl in the Bubble, and For Good, I really enjoy. But for the most part, you're going to get the greatest hits in part one, which is the case with the musical too. But to think that Act 2, this movie, is the Debbie Downer of the musical, because it's kind of like, let's have fun, we're having a great time, everything's great. Glenda's so quirky, yay, yay, yay. Intermission, come back, holy shit, this is dark. And that, but to turn that into a fun-filled adventure of growth and acceptance and, a lot of, by the way, culturally relevant topics in this movie too that aren't in your face, hand over fist. I just loved it. I did a full review on the channel. I can tag it here for you. But I'm a big fan of this when it's going on perfection. And I'm out on an island, but I literally think there's something wrong with me because I don't know why. I'm like, why am I one of 2 or 3 people that I know that are praising it? And I saw this one on Thanksgiving Day. You know what? I'm going to put it on pretty damn good. It's probably around an 8 out of 10. Zootopia 2. Man, I'm not a furry, or what they call them, furries. That's where you're like into like people wearing animal costumes and shit. I don't know. I'm not into that, but this was weirdly kind of romantic. The fox and the bunny, I don't know. It was straight. It was almost like a rom-com, really, with these like talking animal Disney cliches built into it for kids. And it was a really weird experience for me, honestly. My wife loved it. Both my kids loved it, 12 and 6 years old. I loved it. Disney did it, man. They took this great phenomenon from 2016, I think it was, so almost 10 years later. They made a sequel that built on that world, right? But they smartly, and I don't know if this was on purpose, left out certain animal groups from that original that were introduced in this one. And then we get a little teaser at the end of this one. By the way, there's an end credit scene that lends to even more animals that you go, oh yeah, we haven't seen that race of animals yet. So many animals in the world, so many different, cultures that have various animals and whatever that live in their regions that you can't find in other parts of the world. That this franchise could go on for literally ever, like the Toy Story films. I'm not saying that I want it to, but if they keep writing smart material, that's also somewhat relevant, by the way, with these characters and this great voice cast that includes Jason Bateman, Ke Quan is in here, Jennifer Goodwin, of course, as Judy Hopps. I mean, let's do it. And if they keep there's a lot of sexual tension between the fox and the rabbit, right? Or does anybody else feel that, or am I calling myself out here? I don't know. Last thing I do, guys, is I rank everything I put on the perfection tier. So let's see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I got 9, almost 10. That's a lot of 9s out of 10s for the month of November. So let's see how I would rank these. I told you this was going to be tough. These are all literally tied for me, honestly. I think my favorite movie of November is probably Sentimental Value. I've tried to not make that recency bias, but it might be Sentimental Value. Then probably Die My Love. Then Jay Kelly. Then No Other Choice. Yep. It Was Just an Accident might be before. Those are really tied, but for different reasons, those are both great. Then I would probably do Train Dreams. Then I would probably do Wicked. And then Rosemead and Predator Badlands. So there you go. That's 1 through 9, my favorite movies for the month of November. What was your favorite first time watch for the month of November? And which one was I way off on that you wouldn't put on the S tier, or something down low that you might have put a lot higher up? I don't think it'll be After the Hunt, but if it is, let me know. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thanks for tuning in as always. I will see you out here next time in the garage.